Hi guys, I wanted to talk about a book I read for the month of January. It was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was such a good book. It touched on like so many people, so many different like mindsets and things like that. It was just really an eye opener and was really something that I needed to get ready for this upcoming year and this upcoming transition. I absolutely loved the book. Like if you're interested in learning about attraction, like the law of attraction, or like if you ever watched The Secret but want like something to kind of back that up, this was definitely that. Like it was like the philosopher's answer to like attracting money and like realizing all the things that could possibly hold you back. It had like steps on how to get money. It talked about desire, it talked about auto suggestion, it talked about faith, it talked about so much. Like it talked about him, like his son couldn't hear and he just had such a strong desire for him. His son was actually born without ears, and he just had such a strong desire for him to be able to hear regularly. And like through that desire of not accepting what the doctors were saying, he was able to like conjure up like the faith needed to make his son be able to hear. Like he put the desire in him, he wouldn't settle for less, and that was an amazing story. He talked about Henry Ford. That was like an eye opener too, to hear about how like persistent he was and how people thought he was a jerk, people thought he was uneducated, and it was like they even put him on trial, which was crazy. But he just kept pushing, and he had a team of people who knew the answers for him. So he was like, I don't need to know all the answers. I have a team that knows the answers. It was like such a good book when it comes to being business minded. It's like he just gave all the secrets away in like one chapter book. Like some of the gems that I think really stuck out is he talked about infinite intelligence. He talked about like just thinking differently to attract infinite intelligence and attract the answers you're looking for from like the world. Like he talked about the ether realm, which I think is so cool when it comes to like vibrations and frequencies and activities that we can't see but that are technically there for real. He talked about the power of thought. One of the things that I love, like as coming from a life coach's background, I also know like like attracts like. Like if you think negative, you attract negative. If you think positive, you attract the positive. But the way he put it was like your thoughts will go out and attract other thoughts that are relatives to that thought. So like if you're thinking negative, then that negative thought is going to attract its cousin who's also negative. And it's like a spiral of negativity now. I thought that was like a really good eye opener. I had wrote down something he had talked about too, which I thought was really powerful, like for the power of thought. He was like, all thoughts which have been emotionalized, given feeling, and mixed with faith begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. And I repeat that because it's just like, just listen to it. All thoughts which have been emotionalized, given feeling, and mixed with faith begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. So whatever you're thinking is going to transfer into the physical equivalent of what it really is, and that is like powerful all within itself. And so on that note, he talked about auto suggestion. Like I don't know if you guys ever heard of like positive affirmations, but affirming stuff for yourself positively can really change your outlook, your way you think about things. And he talked about that in the book. It was like literally like cheat code for life, for money, for thought processes. Like it was so good. I was calling my mom and reading her like half a chapter. Like you need to hear this. Like it was so good, and it touched on so many things. And it's like crazy that it's just in a book. Like it's literally on Amazon for like $9, which is insane. But like he said something else too. He was like, professors teach knowledge, but many people don't apply, organize, or use that knowledge to obtain money. So it was the difference in between teaching and learning. Like he was like, knowledge is power. He was like, that's a lie. Knowledge is potential power. How crazy is that? Like he just debunked so much stuff. It was amazing. I call him Uncle Hill. Like I went to the library and got another book from him. So I'll be doing that one this month coming up in February. But it was just like eye opening. Like He was like, knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action to the definite end of accumulation of money. On that note, too, he talked about having a plan and how like all the people we see nowadays, they had a plan, but they also like made sure they were persistent and acted out on that plan. But they had a definite plan. And a lot of times we get stuck in, I want to do something, but I don't know how, or I procrastinate. He talked about procrastination too. Like this book, Uncle Hill, like I'm so appreciative. But this book was like the like know-how of all know-hows or whatever, right? And I was so amazed. Which like I'll get into the next book I read, but if I wouldn't have read this book, I wouldn't have been prepared for that next book. Like this was such an eye-opener. This was like a door opener. Like come on into the room of a growth mentality. Come on into the room of a financial mindset, of being open to, thinking about money in different ways and how to attract it, and the ether realm of attracting things and, pulling into you what's yours. And that was like top tier for me. So yeah, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, definitely a must. Like if I could give it I would give it like a 10 out of 10 really. Maybe like a 9 out of 10 because I don't want to put it up on like the top pedestal, but everyone needs to read this book. It's great. Like I said, if you like The Secret, this book is the secret. Like it's really top tier and amazing, and I'm appreciative of it. It was definitely a gem to come across. And there's like, I only touched a few things, but like, if I could leave you guys with anything, I would say the power of auto-suggestion, the power of tricking your mind into believing that it's doing whatever it is that you want it to do already, or that you are where you want to be, or you are who you want to be, and acting accordingly. And I would also say, on the note of procrastination, like doing things consistently, like you're bound to grow, you're bound to learn, you're bound to succeed if you're just consistent and disciplined. And that was one of the things he really touched on too. Like I said, he touched on Mahatma Gandhi, he touched on Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, Henry Ford, Charles Schwab. Like it's so many amazing people that he touched on and gave like just the characteristics and the morals that they had that really helped them to be the amazing people that we know them as today. And I think that was like an eye-opener. We all were in the process, but these people were also in a process, right? And then they came to be who we know them as. So to kind of get that background information from him was amazing. Like he did a deep dive on Henry Ford. That was amazing. He did a deep dive on a few other people, but it was just like, wow. Like, and the fact that this book came out years ago, and to think we're living in these times now compared to like back then, or even more so in a time and place where we have access to resources, more access to financial literacy, more access to people as tools and resources. So we live in a way different time than it was back then, but it's like we're even in a better position now than it was, back then with computers and things like that. He talked about the library being one of the greatest resources. You can learn anything you want to know about anybody in the world and their process in the library. And I was like, well, that's really cool because that's one of my favorite places. So I don't know. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, 9 out of 10, 9.5, 9.7 out of 10. Definitely a must read and a great book. So yeah, go get it for yourself. Bye.